In Revenge of the Sith, Anakin and Obi-Wan face off against Count Dooku on the Invisible Hand. This results in Obi-Wan being knocked unconscious and the subsequent death of Dooku. However, what if things didn't go this way? What if Obi-Wan was actually killed by Count Dooku in front of Anakin during this moment? How would that change the timeline that we know today? Our story begins on the separatist ship, the Invisible Hand. Master and apprentice stood opposite the once Jedi Count Dooku. As the three clashed their blades, the duel began. Dooku moved with an uneasy sense of power, his strength roaring with the dark side and instilling fear within the Jedi. But their resolve did not shatter. Obi-Wan pushed forward with his Sorsu fighting style, attempting to find any weaknesses within Dooku's attacks. As they made their way up the metal stairs, Anakin was force pushed to the side and momentarily away from this battle. Dooku focuses his attention on Kenobi as he lifts him into the air with the Force. Dooku thought back to the beginning of the Clone Wars when he asked Obi-Wan to join him. That was so long ago now. Instead of throwing Obi-Wan into the wall and out of the fight like he does in Revenge of the Sith, Count Dooku thrusts his lightsaber into Kenobi's abdomen and kills him. Anakin roars in defiance as he blasts himself forward and begins to strike with unlimited anger. His strokes were fluid and powerful. Nothing could get in his way. Anakin tapped into the dark side in this moment in ways that he had never done before. Instead of shutting it out, he welcomed it and its strength as he continued to throw his lightsaber at Dooku. Within moments of their confrontation, Anakin removed Dooku's hands from his wrists and sliced his head from his body. Anakin's heart clenched, a searing pain ripping through him. His breath hitched as his gaze was drawn to the lifeless corpse of Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan was gone. The Chancellor spoke with a sense of manipulation, explaining how embracing one's emotions could lead to unforeseen potential. Anakin listened, his mind caught up in the struggle of grief, barely registering the words. But the meaning came through, sinking deep into his subconscious. Palpatine's message was clear. The emotions, the anger, the sorrow, the guilt, they were not weaknesses. They were power, raw and untamed. As Anakin looked back at Obi-Wan's body, a storm of emotions raged within him, each one a different shade of grief and pain. And for the first time, he did not push them away. He did not run from them, but he embraced them, drawing from their energy and using them to fuel his resolve. At this point, Palpatine was essentially coaching Anakin to feel the dark side, giving him all of the ingredients of being a Sith without actually revealing himself as the Sith Lord. The following events would follow suit. Anakin and Palpatine would be captured and brought to the main deck on the Invisible Hand, where they were greeted by General Grievous. Grievous, with his nightmarish combination of flesh and droid parts, was a figure of death. His mechanical gaze held a malevolent gleam, a harsh contrast to his cold, metallic body. However, within Anakin, the sight of Grievous ignited a flame of resistance rather than fear. As the droid began to torment the Jedi and Chancellor, Anakin used his rage and anger for the loss of Obi-Wan to take over. He broke free from his chains that kept him concealed and rushed for Grievous, igniting his lightsaber. The droid acted fast and blocked the incoming strike before igniting his remaining blades. A savage dance of death ensued as Anakin's graceful strikes met with the cyborg's frenzy flurry of metallic limbs. The hum of the lightsaber vibrated throughout the room, harmonizing with the cold, powerful strikes of Grievous's attacks. Grievous was a powerful adversary, yet without the Force, he was no match for Anakin. The Chosen One drew on all aspects of the Force to assist him in this fight. With a precise lunge, Anakin disarmed the general, his lightsaber searing through the cyborg's defenses. Grievous faltered, caught off guard, and allowing Anakin the opportunity to plunge his lightsaber into the general's chest, ending the cyborg's reign of terror for good. This places the Jedi in a far more advantageous position in the Clone Wars, with Grievous and Dooku dead, yet they do not understand that their prized pupil in Anakin is slowly becoming steeped in darkness. Anakin and Palpatine returned to Coruscant with Obi-Wan's body. Their reception was mixed. Some Jedi were just pleased to know that the war was almost over, whereas others were mourning the death of their friend Obi-Wan. Anakin returns to his apartment to see Padme. He is distraught but tries to let his anger go and not control him like it did on the invisible hand. Instead, he shares a nice evening with his wife Padme. The joyous announcement of their pregnancy has tamed his anger for now. However, that night, Anakin experiences the worst set of nightmares he has ever seen. He witnesses his wife in labor, giving birth to their children, yet succumbing to a fatalistic death. That night was horrible for Anakin. Not only had he lost his best friend and master, but now he was fearing the death of his wife, the only prominent person left in his life. Everyone had left him. Qui-Gon, his mother, Ahsoka, even Obi-Wan, and now Padme is going to leave him too. Is his destiny really to be alone? The following afternoon, the Jedi held a funeral for Obi-Wan to commemorate his life as a Jedi. The loss of his mentor cut deep, and anguish etched itself upon his face. Anakin struggled to contain his emotions, his inner turmoil threatening to consume him. Memories of Obi-Wan's wisdom and unwavering guidance flooded throughout Anakin's mind. Images of their shared adventures, countless lessons, and unwavering bond flashed before his eyes. He fought to keep his composure, to honor the fallen Jedi's memory. Yet, in the depths of Anakin's tormented soul, the roots of darkness spread. Anger intermingled with sadness, and a bitter seed of resentment took over. The loss of Obi-Wan seemed an incomprehensible betrayal. In the midst of the funeral, Anakin's inner turmoil erupted. He clenched his fists, his eyes burning with a fiery rage, unable to bear the weight of his conflicting emotions any longer. He turned abruptly and stormed out of the funeral, his anguish eclipsed by the darkness that now consumed him. No one dared to follow him, no one but one man. As Anakin turned around, he saw the final person in his life who cared about him, Chancellor Palpatine. They went back to his office where Anakin asked for guidance. He needed guidance. Palpatine stood there calculating before asking Anakin what was wrong. Anakin was vulnerable. He was feeling countless emotions that Jedi should not be steeped in, and it was dangerous. Anakin proceeded to explain the nightmares he was having of his wife Padme, and how he used to have them of his mother before she died. He broke down in sadness and anger whilst telling Palpatine this. He tells Palpatine that very soon he might be the only person he has left. The Chancellor saw this as the perfect moment to seize control of the boy's mind. Placing his hand on the Chosen One's back, Palpatine spoke about the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise, and how he could use the dark side to keep the ones he cared about from dying. It was here that Palpatine revealed himself to Anakin as the Sith Lord they'd been looking for. Anakin was first taken aback with shock before it hit him. He needed this man. Without this man, he would lose Padme, and thus there would be no one of importance left in his life. Palpatine is not a bad man. He's looked over him all of his life ever since he arrived at the temple. Anakin pledged himself to the dark side under the condition that Palpatine will save Padme from death. The newly pledged Sith Lord was given his first assignment, the largest of all he would ever receive. In order to gain the potential power to save his wife, he must engulf himself in the dark side. To do this, he must aid Palpatine in the extermination of the Jedi Order. Anakin and Sidious made their way to the halls of the Jedi Temple. The room crackled with palpable tension, the clash between light and darkness poised to determine the fate of the Jedi Order. Anakin, fueled by conflicting emotions, battled his former mentors with a ferocity that only betrayal could ignite. His lightsaber danced throughout the air, each stroke a testament to his raw power and the agony that consumed him. The Jedi Masters fought valiantly, their skills and conviction pushing back against the overwhelming darkness. Anakin and Palpatine moved to face their most formidable adversaries, Yoda and Mace Windu. The cold gleam of their lightsabers split the air as Anakin and Palpatine lunged forwards, their blades humming with deadly intent. Yoda and Windu, caught by surprise yet instantly defensive, met their strike with a fortitude nurtured by decades of discipline and practice. Anakin's attacks imbued with a dangerous blend of skill and raw emotion, keeping Windu on the defensive. Simultaneously, Palpatine engaged Yoda, their dual and unnerving ballad of force manipulation and saber play. Yoda and Windu focused on using the light side of the force to win this duel, but the chaotic thrill of anger and hatred created an unparalleled sense of strength within the Sith. They used all of their power to overwhelm the Jedi, and when the gunfire of clones from either side steeped into, there was nothing they could do. Anakin, fueled by a turbulent storm of emotions, overpowered Windu, his lightsaber slicing through the Jedi Master's defenses and killing him. Almost in unison, Palpatine unleashed a torrent of Force lightning, overwhelming Yoda's defenses and striking the reverted Master down. And so, Order 66 claimed its tragic victory, the once mighty Jedi Temple reduced to a haunted symbol of the Sith's ascendancy. In the wake of the devastating Battle of Coruscant, Padme Amidala finally reached the day where she would give birth, surviving and delivering two beautiful children into the world who she would call Luke and Leia. Anakin felt an overwhelming sense of relief and happiness at the sight of this. His new master had helped him to save his family. Without him, his wife and children would be dead. In this act, Anakin didn't find a deceitful manipulator, but a savior who brought protection and hope for his family. As their children grew, they displayed a terrifying affinity for the Force, their abilities far outstripping those of any known Sith or Jedi. Raised on the imposing shadow of their father, the twins learned to navigate the complexities and intricacies of the Force, their limitless power becoming realized. Under Anakin's vigilant guidance, they ascended swiftly within the Sith hierarchy, their power a terrifying echo of their father's own dark potential. Padme, however, looked upon her children with a multitude of emotions. Witnessing her husband's transformation into a Sith Lord and her children's ascent into the dark fold, she couldn't help but feel a sense of dismay. Yet, amidst the darkness, Anakin's love for her remained true. In the end, Padme chose to remain by Anakin's side, treasuring the love he gave her, even as she yearned for the days where her family was untainted by the Sith's influence. Their bond proved that, beneath the veneer of the Sith Lord, the heart of Anakin Skywalker endured, a testament to the love's resilience amidst the darkest of times. Not affected by the limiting chains of the Sith's rule of two anymore, Anakin and Sidious fostered their new apprentices' potential, shaping them into unparalleled Sith Lords. And so, a new era dawned upon the galaxy. An era of a Sith dynasty no longer hidden in the shadows, but reigning over the galaxy in an undisputed power. The galaxy's fate was sealed in the hands of a new generation of Sith Lords, their reign a chilling testament to the truth of Palpatine's prophecy. If you enjoyed today's video, you must watch What If Anakin and Vader Were Different People, or What If Anakin Reached His Full Potential. Please go and follow our Instagram page as we plan on posting a lot more over there, and we would really appreciate your support. The link to that is in the description below. I hope you all enjoyed, and may the Force be with you.